Hello, my name is Ben,
And my name is Josh.
and welcome back to FPL Graduates. It's not quite FPL Fridays, but it is a Thursday this week, isn't it, Josh? Because of the deadline.
Yeah, deadline at 6 tomorrow. So we had to go live tonight because we just don't have time tomorrow, I'm afraid. But yeah, we're still going to get some great content, loads of advice for you guys. We've had a couple of press conferences already, but we've got a great guest, haven't we, Ben?
A delusional one, I think, is the best word to describe that. It's the one and only Kieran Rants. Welcome back, Kieran.
Thanks for having me on, lads. You know, I love Morita. Delusional. I speak facts, Ben. I speak facts, you know what I mean?
So if you don't know who Kieran is, he is an Everton fan and kind of describe the sort of content that you put out to TikTok, to YouTube, that sort of thing.
TikTok's just sort of a write-off, not gonna lie. I just post absolute garbage on there. You know, one day you might get me rating bagels out of 10. The other day you might get me ranting about Everton. You never know with TikTok. YouTube, however, football content. Look, we come out here with the watch-alongs, the match previews, you know, the match reactions, anything and everything football. Just have a look at it. It's pretty much watch-alongs, you know, and we're out there every single day, daily uploads.
Decent.
Put it in the grind.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So awesome. we may as well just jump straight into it. Team updates, you know, what we're planning on doing going into Gameweek 5, is it now? We're kind of moving on in the game weeks, getting on a bit. And Josh, when we're thinking about making the transfers, making the moves, the template is shifting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. With the injuries, obviously the new additions to the league like Lukaku and Ronaldo, so many options now. So I know for certain you have made a good few transfers this week, haven't you?
I haven't made them yet. I'm waiting till after this West Ham game. But I'm going to show you my team and kind of talk you through what I'm going to be doing this week with my team. So I've got 2 free transfers in the bank right now, and I'm going to be making free transfers. So I'm going to take a -4, I think, this week. Basically, pending on if Antonio stays fit in this 90 minutes, which he's playing. I've got it on in the background, West Ham, just to see. So the plan is to transfer out Ivan Toney for Romelu Lukaku this week. I'm going to transfer out Mahrez for Sissoko, and then I'm going to transfer out Reguilon for Duffy. And I'm going to do it all tonight. Basically, Duffy is due to rise tonight. Tony's due to rise full tonight, sorry. And so I think it's the best time to get him in. If Antonio gets injured tonight and it looks relatively serious, I'll transfer him out, and it will just be the 2 free transfers of Antonio out, Lukaku in, and then Mahrez out, Sissoko in. But that's the plan at the moment. Salah captaincy, I think, is the standout obvious choice right now for me. Not even thought about anyone else potentially on captaincy. Maybe Lukaku, but I think Salah is set for me in my team. Josh, Kieran, what are your thoughts on my plans going into this week?
Go. Wait, Josh, can I go first?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Sissoko, really? I mean, come on, Ben. What's going on here? Sissoko.
It's a 4.5 million budget enabler. I think he's probably the best one out of all the 4.5s. I mean, realistically, you agree with me here, Kieran. There's like Allen in there, but he's going to get a yellow for Everton, isn't he?
Well,
there's not too many other 4.5 options, unless you can pick me out one that's going to score this weekend.
You know what, Ben? I just look at Sissoko and I go, he is just a yellow card merchant. That's my only problem. But Ben, look. I think what you're doing is brilliant. You know, with Duffy and the other one, Lukaku, right? It has to be done. Don't start Sissoko for life. Yeah, he's a yellow card merchant, man. I swear.
I mean, I'm not planning on starting him every week because obviously he's a cheap option to get me that Lukaku in. So I imagine he'll probably stay in and around my bench. He might start this week because of Antonio not being able to play. I want to keep him. I think he'll score when he's back, won't he? Sissoko. In terms of fixtures coming up, you know, he's got Norwich coming up, Newcastle, like those 2 fixtures, at least for the next 2, pretty decent, whilst I've got a couple of problems with my team. That's my thought process behind it. Josh, a voice of reason, what do you think?
Yeah, obviously, like you mentioned, Sissoko's there just to sort of make up the numbers, really. Obviously, Lukaku in, it's going to be interesting because you're bringing him in before City. So is he going to be able to break down those tougher teams? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Spurs are without couple of defensive assets. Going to be interesting. I think he scores in that game against Spurs this weekend. It's just a question of how many. Again, you're not going to captain him, so it's still a worthy transfer to make. I'm just glad you're getting rid of Tony and Mahrez, mate. I'm not sure how you still kept with them at 5 game weeks in.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one. I've had other fires to put out in my FPL team before making the transfers. I mean, Mahrez has been overdue by about 3 weeks, I reckon. Maybe even 4. It's
5.
not been good. Tony, the potential's there, but the fixtures have kind of turned a bit sour for him now. He's had his opportunities on another year or another season. He probably would have 3 or 4 by now, but it's not happened. We just got to take the L on that one, and just get a bit of value in the team with Duffy going up. But yeah, that's what we're kind of looking like right now. Josh, have you made your transfers yet?
I have made my 1 transfer. Yes, I have. I'll get my team up now. So here we go. Melier in goal, of course. Leeds double up this week. So I've done it about 3 times already this season. So surely it's got to work this time. Trent at the back. He's actually most likely to get a return in the whole game. 75% chance to either get a clean sheet or an attacking return. Shaw's at there. West Ham away. No Antonio. I'm hoping for a clean sheet. But United will probably let me down as always. Duffy's there. Leicester at home. Not a great fixture, but Leicester haven't been too great this season. As I mentioned, Ayling at the back, double up Leeds. They're lacking. He's probably going to play centre-back, to be honest. They've only got Liam Cooper as the only one who's fit or not suspended. So I imagine Ayling slots at centre-back. Salah captain, again, not looked past anyone else. He's very likely to score, and I think he's won the highest. I think it's 74% chance likely to get a return. Bruno Fernandes, he's just staying there for now. He will be the guy who comes out eventually, but like I said, Antonio suspended. I've had to get a new guy in. Sar's there, Norwich away. I think this is just the perfect fixture for Watford. They've lacked creative spark, so hopefully they can find that for this Norwich game. Benrahma sticks around for another week whilst Antonio gets suspended. I can see him losing his place, to be honest. Like, not to Vlasic, but just in general. I'm not sure if he starts tonight. Ben will let us know. But yeah, I think he's an interesting one.
He's been rested tonight along with Soufal, so that's it's a good sign for us. And there's a lot of people, myself including, that believe that Benrahma could actually play up front for West Ham this weekend. I'm just saying it as we've seen Antonio score for West Ham again. Absolute
like our own
gift
little
from Zalbro.
But, Ben, I've got a question. Who's your source on that?
HP.
It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter somewhere.
I'd say
I've seen Benrahma play up front before for Brentford in the Championship, so it's not out of position for him to play there.
I'd watch out for Vlasic. I think George said that Vlasic's going to start up top. So, or is Jamie as one of them? I forgot who it was, but just watch out for that. Okay.
The only reason why I think it is just because he's been benched tonight. That's it. That's the only reason.
Yeah. So Benrahma chat over. Ronaldo's up top. He's just going to score. I hate to break it to all the West Ham fans, but he will score this weekend. And then Jimenez, my transfer in this week for Antonio, saves me 0.3 million. He's only Mo Salah has the same amount of shots in the box and created chances this season, double figures for both of them. So he's looking really good. He's just yet to get a return. So hopefully Brentford at home is the fixture he does for that. In terms of the bench, don't even look at it. It's a mess. But yeah, we're going to try and improve that in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I'm liking it. The only concern maybe I'd have is how you've gone again. Leeds double up in defence with one fit centre half that they've got. We were talking about it earlier. Even without Wilson or John Joe Shelby and players like that, could we see Newcastle scoring? I mean, it's a big possibility.
It's going to be
isn't
a
it?
big Jamal Lascelles header to ruin my night. That's what's going to happen on Friday.
I think as well. You've taken a leap as well with Raul Jimenez. Is like you said, his shots in the box, he's had a lot, but on target, not too many on target overall. You got to hope that with the fixtures, with him coming back into it a bit more, he can score some goals. Ismail Sarr, I like him. It's just whether Watford can get attacking returns, isn't it, at that price point? But yeah, overall good team. There's a reason why you're so high up in the rankings so far, and yeah, it's a good core of that team. Kieran, go on.
Go on then. I've put right. Let's have a look. Right,
No Everton
Okay,
players.
right.
Shit.
Like you're taking the absolute mick here, you two. You're coming on here, right, with an Everton fan. You've not put Damari Gray in. You've not put. I actually don't really care about Luca Digne, but Damari Gray, Townsend, Rondon, none of them. No Richarlison, no nothing.
Richarlison was in my thoughts, but he just didn't. He didn't do anything against Burnley to satisfy my needs.
Nah, well, actually, Richarlison, yeah, actually, no. But look, Gray. I mean, look, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. Gray, Damari Gray, he's one of the best players on our team at the moment, and you're not picking him. It's a bit like Gundogan last year, you know what I mean? Like he just keeps scoring. He just keeps scoring, and he continuously will. A bit like Lingard, he continues to, he will continue to score. He will.
Difference is he plays for Man City, not Everton, though. Come on.
No, but it's like Lingard. There you get me. Like last year, people were hesitant to get Lingard, and then they're like, oh, maybe not. Oh, well, just get Gray now. Just do it now. But anyway, apart from that, I'm just wondering who's got the better team. I'm not too sure. I think I'll have to. I think Ben's got one. I forgot what Ben's team looks like now, but I think Ben's team got one flaw in it, which I forgot, but I will remember if I see it again. But you don't have to show me again. I just think Jimenez up top. Jimenez up top for me doesn't work because I think Juan Hee-chan is a better call for you because he's cheaper, and then you could probably take out Jimenez, reinvest it, and then maybe swap him out. Maybe swap out a Sarr or Ben Rama because obviously we don't know if Ben Rama is going to be a guaranteed start anymore, as you said before. So anyway, that's my rant over. And good teams. You know what I mean? You get some points.
Yeah, it's interesting with Hwang Hee-chan. He's definitely on my radar. It's just his first week. Last week, he comes off the bench. The goal he scored wasn't necessarily a great goal. But yeah, I just wanted to see him starting and things like that. For that price, it's obviously a no risk really for 5.5. But hey, he's on the radar. Let's see what happens.
No, yeah, definitely.
Right, Kieran, let's get into your team. We've got it up here. Talk us through the Kieran Rants Masterclass.
The best team in FPL. Okay, we're representing Kieran under 11s. Like, we are going to win the league. Okay, simple as. We got 71 points last week. 71. Oh, 70. That's phenomenal. Okay, all right. Melier and goal. Look. Leeds going to keep a clean sheet against Newcastle. Absolutely, they will. Absolutely, they will. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's actually done really well for me. So big ups to him. Luke Shaw, left back, or centre back, whatever. Luke Shaw to me, just he's not the same anymore, is he, Josh, as last year? You know what I mean? He's not the exact same. Like he's still doing, he does the job, but he's not the exact same. So maybe I'm looking to replace him with maybe another United defender or someone. But I'm quite happy with my back line because I've got Reguilon as well, who I think's done the job for a bit. Then this is where it gets a bit spicy. I'm not going to lie. Okay. All right. So I've got Fernandez, Ben Rama, Gray, Rafinha, Gallagher. Very solid midfield, in my opinion. I think that Gallagher especially, you might look at it like he is the weak link, but I don't think he is because he is that playmaker in that Crystal Palace team now. And if you don't have Gallagher in your team, I think that unless you've got someone better than him in your midfield, unless you've fully decked out your midfield, I think that Gallagher is one of those players you need to get because very cheap. He is a key part of that Crystal Palace team. And I think that, Crystal Palace, yes, they've got Liverpool this week, so they might not do as well. But long term, I think that he is going to be that asset that gets you 8 points, like once every 2 weeks. I just think he's quite good, Gallagher. And then up top, you got Lukaku and Ronaldo. Now, I actually messaged Ben before this, right? And I said, my original front line was not Antonio, sorry. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Wilson, and then I had Godfrey at the back. But instead, I went with a triple swap. Okay, I took a -8 hit.
Cool.
I got Lukaku.
I didn't realise you were taking a -8 when you messaged me.
yeah, it's -8. So it's not too bad. Look, the only reason I did the -8 hit is because I had Gallagher on the bench last week. So, and he came on. So I just saw it as a win-win, in my opinion. And look, Lukaku, Ronaldo, and this guy from Brentford. Lukaku and Ronaldo. Yeah, this Lukaku and Ronaldo are just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. And if you don't have both of them in your teams, you're actually going to miss out because they are going to score every single game. Lukaku scored 2 against Aston Villa and 1 against Arsenal. Ronaldo, he scored against Young Boys in the Champions League and he scored twice against Newcastle. These strikers do not mess around when they get in front of goal. In that game, I'll use Lukaku right. he had 2 shots, I think it was, in that game. He scored 2 goals. Aston Villa had about 20 and they didn't score. You know, this is the difference between a world-class player in Lukaku and Ronaldo and everyone else. And that's why I think that I've just got those 2 and I'm just going to run with it because my bench is very weak. But I think that as long as those 2 don't get injured, we'll be railing in the points. You know, we'll get so many points, it's going to be unstoppable. But yeah, that's my team. What do you think?
It's interesting for sure. I think for me personally, I'd go Salah over Bruno. I know that's hard for you to take into account, but I think in general, I don't think Bruno's going to get as many returns as Salah would be. And I love Gallagher. I think he's played fantastic so far this season, but the run of games that Palace go on in the next few weeks are not tasty, that's for sure. And I think his output will drop off, but then maybe it picks back up come when they go on a better run. What are you thinking, Ben?
Disagree with Josh in terms of the Gallagher pick. I think he's the best value for money player in the game right now in terms of his underlying numbers. Absolutely fantastic. He's producing phenomenal XGI. He's involved in absolutely everything in a Palace team that are only going to get stronger with the players that they got coming back in. Like I could even see Palace scoring against the likes of Liverpool and Leicester, who they've got in their next 3 games, and then after that, you know, from game week 9 to 13, there's only one tough game in there for Gallagher. So if you're looking at a long-term option cheap, I think he's the one to go for, potentially over Gray because of the underlying numbers, because he's playing so well, and because he's on set pieces as well. You can't forget that he's on set pieces for Crystal Palace as well. So I do really like that pick. Reguilon for me, I brought him in a couple of weeks ago, and I'm ready to bring him out now because Tottenham aren't improving defensively. I know they've got players out for this weekend, players that might be coming back. So I'm not too sure about that. And again, the Salah situation, I probably have Salah in over Fernandes if you've got Ronaldo as well.
Well, I was going to say that maybe next week. I'm looking at Salah. I think that it's simple because I've actually accidentally tripled up on Man United assets, which it's not a bad thing, but you don't want that in your team really, apart from if it's your team. But I think Salah for Fernandes, and then you've doubled up on 2 good teams there, haven't you? Really, I'm avoiding actually Man City assets because I just cannot be bothered with them. The only one I'd bring in is Diaz as well. I just thought so. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm looking at. I think Reguilon and Fernandes are the next one for next week.
Yeah, there's some good transfers you made. I agree with your City statement. It's just there's so many players in the game right now that are scoring similar points, and you know they're nailed. Whereas with those City guys, you can get them benched easily. I think one thing we'll look at though is maybe their defense in the future. That's something that's a little bit more nailed down than the usual.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
Yeah. Right. Shall we move on to the next segment of the show? Josh, let's explain this one. Test our guest. It's back.
It is indeed. Kieran knows it better than ever. Kieran's going to have 60 seconds to answer as many questions as he can about Everton / FPL related questions. I'll have the clock. Ben's got the questions. Are we ready?
Yeah, if you think you know the answers in the comments, make sure to leave them down and let us know how many you get right. Okay, Kieran, are you ready?
Absolutely.
3, 2, 1. In game week 3, which Everton asset scored the most points?
Right. Demarai Gray.
Andros Townsend. And how many points did Andros Townsend get versus Burnley?
9.
12. Who is the highest owned Everton asset on FPL as of today?
Gray.
Correct. Only one Everton player has had 2 price falls already on FPL. Who is that player?
Sigurdsson.
Correct. Name an Everton player to already be on 2 yellow cards so far this season in the league.
Defender. No. Keane? No, that's not right.
No, it's not. What is the price of James Rodriguez on FPL?
7.6.
6.9. How many minutes has Rondon played in the league for Everton?
10.
9. DCL's produced the highest XGI for Everton so far this season, but who has produced the second most XGI?
Let's go with Demarai Gray.
Richarlison.
What? Right, come on, 10 minutes. You got to give me the 10 minutes.
XGI is goals and assists.
You can't.
So how many was that, Josh?
Don't tell me you're not giving me 10 minutes.
2. He got 2, which he was happy for before the live stream. So, hey.
Are you not giving me the 10-minute one? 1 minute.
Nah.
Oh.
On FPL, it says 9 minutes.
Ben's out here being ruthless.
No, he came on. I guarantee he came. Oh, that's.
I did tell you that question was coming. I said there's going to be a disgusting question coming.
If we're being technical here, it shouldn't be 9 minutes. Technically, it's not because he came on in the 80th minute, so technically it should be added time as well, shouldn't it? What time does he come on?
9 minutes on the FPL website, so we're going with FPL.
That's a disgrace. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, I know. I'm not a bottle drop. I just, you know, I'm not a bottle drop. Just it happens on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we move. I mean, is it? I don't think it's the worst score we've had this season. So yeah, you're all right, I guess.
We're just average, aren't we? You know what I mean? We're nothing special, but we're nothing bad.
We've leveled up the questions, made them a lot more difficult. So you got.
I know last year you were. Sorry, Ben. Last year you were asking me like, who's got the most goals this season, and I was like, oh, Dominic Calvert-Lewin by about 10. Now it's like XGI and all this. Like, what's going on here?
Hey, we're leveling up.
Yeah. Nah. Okay. It is what it is.
Right, we'll move on to the next segment. We're going to be talking stats. So we're going to take a look at XGIs and different things like this and determine who's going to be coming out on top. And a lot of players are actually hitting the metric quite highly. So if you go on Fantasy Football Hub, a link to that is in our link tree if you want to check it out for yourself. We're looking at Antonio leading the way, of course. He's just banged in loads of goals at the start of the season. Mane's up there, which is interesting. And also Gallagher, who you mentioned, Kieran, he's in your team. He's coming out 4th, higher than Calvert-Lewin. What's your thoughts, Ben? Anyone sticking out to you or anything like that?
In terms of one that you'd want to keep an eye on, definitely Gallagher, because his numbers are really, really fantastic. You look at the prices of all the players in that list, and the next nearest player is at a similar sort of price point as someone like Trincao in the midfield. So he looks really, really fantastic. Other ones you've probably got to keep an eye on. Alexander-Arnold. I mean, if you don't have him already, what are you doing? You've got to have him in at this point. Interesting that Sadio Mane is up there. I think those were massively inflated from the Leeds game. He had so many chances, didn't he? So we'll have to see how that levels out, because obviously the sample size still is really small, and I've seen a lot of jokes on Twitter over the past week about sample sizes and stuff like that. It is small, but it is starting to tell now. The cream is starting to rise to the top.
Yeah, 100%. I think also one player just to quickly mention, a lot of people looking to get DCL Antonio out this week. Chris Wood is hitting these metrics quite high. He's got a decent run of games as well for Burnley. I think they've got Arsenal this week. So maybe if you're trying to save a bit of cash as well, 6.9 million, I think he's one of those players that just goes under the radar because the team he plays for, the way he scores goals, it's not pretty, but he scores goals, and that's facts, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's producing consistent numbers every single season. You know, he's guaranteed 10, 15 goals in a season, and against teams that aren't quite so good defensively, he will take advantage of that. So definitely one to look out for. Kieran, is there any players on that list that's kind of catching your eye in terms of players you want to get in?
Well, Ben, you know my thoughts on XG. You know my thoughts, right? But if you're looking at XG, if you're looking at those players that list there, I would say Lukaku, because I know for a fact that if he gets the ball, he's going to score. And that makes, maybe he's a bit too far off in your teams. I know it's very hard to fit in, but if you can fit him in, you have to get this guy in. Like, Lukaku is one of the best strikers I think I've ever seen play. Ever.
Yeah,
honestly,
I think it's
the way
honestly,
the way he just gets the ball, like, when the ball comes in, and he takes a touch and he shoves the defender off him and he shoots and he scores. It's not matched. And honestly, I don't think this is what stats don't show you. So Lukaku definitely get in. Everyone else on that list, obviously, I've mentioned Gallagher. I'd say Salah, as I said before, very obvious picks. And I'd look at Fernand Torres from City. Is that the guy? Is that the Torres at the bottom there? I think that Fernand Torres for me, Pep really rates. So. I think Pep really rates him. I know Pep's came out and said, praised Jesus as well publicly, but I feel like, in the changing room, something we don't see is that he probably really likes this Fernand Torres because, putting him as a false nine, put him in the centre of that false nine at such a young age, I think shows how much trust Pep has in him. So have a look out for that one. Obviously, he can play a lot of games because he's still young. But yeah, that's it. I'd look out for Lukaku, Salah, and Torres.
Good stuff. Yeah, some great picks there. And as I mentioned, if you want to check out Fantasy Football Hub, do so. Link is in our link tree.
Yeah, so we'll move on then to captain picks. Who we think are the best captaincy options for this week? You know, there's a few good options. There's a couple of standout ones. Kieran, if you're thinking captaincy, who do you go for this week?
Well, you got me on the wrong week, lads. I can't back Everton this week. I'm sorry, lads. I'm sorry, I can't. We play awful against Aston Villa most times, so don't captain any Everton players. In my team right now, I think I'm going to go Ronaldo or Lukaku. It's so obvious. But I say this again, Lukaku, he will score a goal. It's a virtual certainty he will score a goal against Spurs. I think for a differential, you're probably looking at a West Ham asset against Man United, but very unlikely they will score. And then I'm not too sure. It's just very... I think this week for captaincies, I think that you're very limited, in my opinion. And I feel like if you want a differential, it'd probably be Trent. Probably, maybe. But I don't know. It'll be, look, your obvious one. Salah, he's probably top, isn't he? I'd say Lukaku as well. Ronaldo, and then Trent. Those are my top four. Yeah,
it's interesting you say Trent, because I think a lot of people would maybe be scared of the fact he's a defender, but he's coming out looking decent. He nearly got a goal yesterday. He got the assist against Milan. He's just looking really, really good in that Liverpool team. Is there anyone that you'd go for, Ben, that's different to what Kieran said?
I think Kieran's covered most of them. One that I would almost be tempted by as a bit of a differential premium is Kevin De Bruyne facing Southampton at home. Now I know Southampton, they've scored every time they've played City in the last 16 games or something like that. Like they do have a scoring record against them. But I think De Bruyne, when he gets his minutes, and I think his minutes will be limited this season somewhat due to coming back from injury and such, but I think he will play. He could be a very, very good differential captain for this week, producing, lots of goals and assists, and I think he could do relatively well. But like I said, I can't see any reason not to captain Mo Salah this week. He is effectively the best player against the worst team this week. Crystal Palace last year, not a great defensive team. Yes, they've improved this year, but they're still conceding goals. They conceded, didn't they, 2-0 to West Ham? Yep. So I think Salah's a really safe one to go for, and he will be the most captain player this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think one key thing to remember with Palace, they beat Spurs 3-0, but Spurs had the red card. Spurs weren't at the races. I think they created 0.06 XG or something. So they really weren't a team that was going to trouble Palace at any point of that game. So just one to bear in mind, because although Palace have played very well, they are going to still be vulnerable to a fantastic Liverpool team.
It's Nuno ball at the end of the day, that game. Absolutely awful. That was so boring to watch as well. I'm not going to lie. Honestly, God. Honestly. You know what? Can I say, Ben, as well? On Brighton, yeah. I know it's a bit off the point, right? But if we're talking, I'm not sure who Brighton played this week, right? But I want to read about, on XG, right? XG, Brighton had 0 point something XG.
Yeah.
And they won. And then Brentford had about like 2 point something. So for me, XG doesn't matter. But in the case of Spurs, they were awful. Absolutely awful that game. And I just found it hilarious. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on to the final segment, which is questions. If you've got any questions, we're going to have like a quick 5 minutes to answer as many as you can. If we don't get to your questions, just send them over to us on Twitter. Just tweet us at FPL Graduates, and we'll reply to as many tweets as possible on there. Here's the first one then in from Ricardo. Who would you prefer for Game Week 5, 6, and 7? For Game Week 5 and 6, sorry. As in Game Week 7, he's going to wild card. Torres, Gray, Sarr, Gallagher. We know which ones Kieran's going to pick.
Well, obviously. Do you want to start, lads?
Go on.
Demarai Gray, right? Look, at the end of the day, if you've not got him in your team, I don't know what you are doing, to be honest with you, because Demarai Gray has had 3 shots on target and scored all 3. That's 100%, conversion rate right there. And Demarai Gray, to me, right, He's starting every single game. Can you say the same about Fernan Torres? Probably not. Sarr, he plays for Watford. I mean, I'm not taking the mick here. We are better than Watford. And Gallagher, they've got Liverpool next week. We've got Aston Villa and Norwich. I mean, really, we should be winning both of them. And the thing is, you might say, oh, you lost 2-0 against Norwich last time they were around, this, that, the other. We've got Rafa. And the thing is with Rafa is we are defensively solid. And with Rafa, we want to score goals. We have scored 10 goals in the past 4 games. That is more than we scored in the past 17 games, or I think it was the past 10 games, last season. That's how big of an impact Rafa's had on our goal scoring. And we've just gone absolutely through the roof. So, Demarai Gray.
Yeah, I agree for the next 2 weeks. If you're wanting to make that decision, I think the decision is between Demarai Gray or Ismaila Sarr because of the fixtures. To be honest,
Newcastle, Norwich for Sarr.
Yeah, it's 2 fantastic fixtures for Ismaila Sarr, who's on penalties as well, I think, for Watford now that Deeney's left. So it's basically that decision of, do you want to have Gray or Sarr? To be honest, I wouldn't be able to pick between them. I probably lean more towards Gray, but obviously, Josh, you have Sarr at the moment. So would you lean more towards him as an asset for next 2?
I think the fact that Watford are struggling to create chances does put me off a bit, obviously. Whereas Everton, as Kieran mentioned, a bit more free flowing going forward. But I wouldn't discount Torres. Obviously, there is the potential that he might not start, but they're facing Southampton at home. De Bruyne is back. Like he's definitely a valid option there as well.
Definitely. Let's have a look here. We'll get one from Glenn in now. The striking situation. Everyone's trying to get those assets in, trying to work out what to do with Michel Antonio. What are we saying then? Bamford, Jimenez. Which one would you want to go for? Go on, Kieran.
Rondon. He's starting next week. No, but seriously. Right. Nah. Not Jimenez. But honestly, Glenn, I don't think those are the right options,
if I was in that position, and had a good enough bench, I'd consider just subbing Antonio for this week.
Yeah. I don't think I think Bamford's will he score against Newcastle? No. Will Jimenez score against whoever he's playing? I just don't see it with Jimenez anymore. I'm sorry, I don't. I just don't know what's going on within these next couple of weeks. I wouldn't bet on him doing well in these next couple of weeks, and that's why I said Rondon, because I can guarantee you now he's playing 90 minutes on Saturday. And whether you back him to score or not, don't actually get him in because he probably won't start. No, my luck. But I'd do what Ben says there and just bench them.
Josh, you've kind of made that decision with your team. Do you still feel that Jimenez is the better one to go for out of the 3, let's say?
Well, Jimenez is the only one I could afford from Antonio. I could afford Bamford. So for me, I think Bamford's the best replacement for Antonio. He's got great fixtures coming up. His stats his expected stats are similar, if not better, than last season. It's just they've faced Liverpool and Man United in their first 4 fixtures. So the goals aren't quite there yet with him. He's fit. He's ready to play. Jimenez, it's literally a matter of time before he gets assists and goals. He's just in and amongst it. Wolves are going to explode very soon. All of their players just creating so many chances. It's hard for them not to score, basically. But like you guys said, if you can bench Antonio, I would go for that person. Even if it's Brandon Williams this week, he's got quite a high percentage for Norwich to keep a clean sheet against this Watford team who are hard, slacking in chances, basically. So yeah, I'd 100% try and bench Antonio.
Definitely a good option then. Right wing says, is Ronaldo a must-have if I haven't wildcarded? So this is kind of assuming that, you haven't got a premium striker in yet. Josh, if you're going to get a premium striker in, is it Ronaldo that you have to get in if you don't have any of them?
I think it's just difficult, actually, because I think if I've brought in Ronaldo because of last week, I knew he'd score against Newcastle. It's just a fact. Newcastle conceded so many chances, but Man United don't have a great run of games. They've got West Ham. I think they've got Everton maybe in their next 3 or something like that.
They're not scary.
I mean, we scored 4 in pre-season without him.
Yeah, we didn't have a striker then. We didn't have Pickford. No, actually, we did. Sorry, we didn't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We didn't have Richarlison. We didn't have Rondon, obviously. no
He
Damari
strikes the
Gray, no
defence.
Townsend. So let's not take the mick here. You know what I mean?
Anyway,
It's the same defense, isn't it?
Well. No, it's not actually. We didn't have Godfrey. I don't think. Look back at it. I don't think it was.
Can't
Anyway,
really remember, to be fair. But yeah, for me, it's difficult because I don't know if I'd go straight on Lukaku either, because Spurs, yes, it's a decent fixture, but then they face City. It's just going to be a tough game there. After that, obviously, a lot of people are thinking of wild card in game week 7, 8. I don't think Ronaldo's a must-have, that's for sure, anyway.
Yeah, I have to say, if you're looking to transfer one in and you're not planning on wildcard in game week 7, I think you save yourself a lot of hassle if you bring in Lukaku now.
Yeah.
We've all backed Lukaku to score against Spurs, and even against City. Like, Chelsea are a really good team, and they caused City a lot of problems last season. So I could see him potentially scoring in that as well. Obviously, his ceiling's not going to be as high for that game, whereas Ronaldo's got a bit of a better fixture in game week 6. But then that Chelsea run looks fantastic going forwards, and you probably want him to have at least Lukaku and a defender in there. So it's just weighing it up when you want to use your wild card, because for me, like, even at game week 7, I probably now could afford not to use my wild card then and kind of hold it off just a little bit longer. So we'll have to see about that. And Kieran, what are your thoughts? Are you thinking the sort of same?
Yeah, Lukaku. Honest to God. I
It's
know.
almost like he played for Everton one day.
I said it'd be Everton propaganda piece today. It's a Lukaku propaganda piece. You know what I mean? Because you just got to get him in. You just know he's going to score. You just know he's going to score, and that's the thing.
Right, here's one for you, Kieran. Would you sell DCL for a -4 or just bench him? You know a bit more about how his injury's going. Is Lukaku out for a little while, or is it worth just subbing him off?
So Rafa came out today and said he'd be out for 2-3 weeks. It's a lie. It'll be a month. I don't know what's going on with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I really don't know, because I thought he was coming back for the international break. Because he actually had this toe injury since he started, and he still scored 3 goals. Right, but then he's obviously not played against Burnley, and I feel like Rafa is not going to rush him back. I think Rafa, if we didn't get Rondon, Rafa would have rushed him back, and he would have played Monday. Sorry. However, I just don't think Rafa's going to rush him back. I think that Rondon and Richarlison will start up top, or we will go to a 5 at the back like we did against Burnley and have either Richarlison or Rondon starting at striker in like a 5-2-3. So take the hit, get him gone, get in a different striker, even if that is Juan Hee-chan, even if that is Jimenez, Bamford, whatever. Bring him in, because he's not going to be active for 3-4 weeks. And I would say, I think a lot of people wildcard in the next 3-4 weeks, don't they? Do it. Bring him back in then.
Yeah, it's interesting because we saw pictures of DCL training last week before the Burnley game. So a lot of people thought, it's fine, like, we'll bring him in and stuff. And then he just gets benched and he's not fit.
He wasn't even bench dropped, that's the thing. He's gone.
Exactly.
He's not even starting. Like, what is going on? I just don't get it. But I think it's because he just doesn't want to, look at it in a long picture. 38 games you've got, he's going to miss 3. Yeah. It's not going to be a big deal for him.
Yeah, got good fixtures as well, so you'd expect to beat those teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we'll take one last question, and here is one about City assets. Is Jack Grealish the City asset going forward? Is he the one we need to get in? Kieran, what are your thoughts? Is he the most nailed on in that City side?
If you're talking about the attack, then it's hard for me to say, but I would say so. It's either him or De Bruyne, to be honest with you, because Grealish is versatile, isn't he? He's got a bit of pizzazz about him, and I think that he is probably the most nailed on, and he did well against Leipzig yesterday. He probably will start against Southampton, and I think Jack Grealish is one of those players who I think has to start. I think Pep has to start him. If you're spending £100 million on him, he's one of those players that will start for the first 2-3 months, and then you might see him getting rotated out. But obviously, if he's playing amazingly, then there's no need to take him out. I'm talking about Pep there, but I think he is. Yeah, I think he is.
Interesting you say that. I think I have to agree with the fact that at the moment he's playing well enough not to be dropped. he's not giving Pep a reason to drop him. I think the only other one that I'd say is potentially as good an asset is Ferran Torres, because City don't have that striker, and he seems to be playing Jesus out wide now rather than through the middle. I think Torres is definitely a good option because he is playing a lot more down the middle. Got his goal disallowed last night, but yeah, Josh, I don't know if you agree. Torres, Grealish, are those the two to go for?
It's got to be De Bruyne for me. I know he costs a lot more than those two, but when he's in that team, it's a different team. What I did notice, though, when De Bruyne and Grealish played, it weren't great against Spurs for that half an hour. I don't know if you guys saw in the second half. They sort of got in each other's way. So there's a way of, obviously, I'm sure Pep will work that out. Like, he's the best manager in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can play together because they're quite similar styles. They like having a lot of the ball. And if Jack Grealish is that guy who's getting on the end of De Bruyne's crosses at the back post, if he's the guy getting assists for the, 3.5 million that's cheaper, I definitely think of Grealish as one of those assets going forward.
So that kind of rounds us off pretty nicely for this week. Thank you again for watching. If we didn't get round to your question, like I said, just tweet at us at FPL Graduates and we'll answer your questions. I think that's the best way at the moment to get to us, and we'll get through your questions. I mean, the Instagram DMs is just, it's overwhelmed. I think that's the best way to describe it. So yeah, thank you, Kieran, for coming on. We hope you enjoyed your time on FPL Thursdays, I guess you can call it this week.
No, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on again. And you know what? You're doing amazing. Bringing on all these guests every week, it's just phenomenal. So keep it up. Obviously, you don't need me to say that on a live stream, do you? You know what I think. So thanks for having me on. And Ben, you just wait for that message when Gray scores. Just wait for it. Come into the watch along. Actually, come into the watch along.
I'll be. When is the Everton game?
5 on Saturday. Look,
I might be coming back from Fulham away with Reading then, so we'll see how we are and if we've got the phone battery and capacity to watch that. But we'll see. But yeah, make sure you go and subscribe to Kieran's YouTube channel. Doing watch-alongs pretty much every day. It's ridiculous, this guy's work rate. And as always, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all our socials. And as always, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Kieran Rants.
And we'll see you guys
later. Have a good game week, everyone.